Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Today's topic, the walk and talk. It's one of those non-sensational, probably unpopular, low-viewed type of topics, but it's one that I think that not just we as prepared-minded homesteader, traditional, whatever kind of people, I think most people, all people, need to hear this kind of stuff because it's not just a prepper topic. It's just about our society as a whole. I wanted to talk about, well, it's a moral issue, but specifically being able to trust each other, loyalty in a group, honesty, those types of traits that they used to be considered very common and very well known and accepted in traditional communities, in any kind of community. That type of trait and behavior were necessary for the success of that community, whether it was some small town or a church or some kind of organization or a family or whatever. And I think because we're watching our society unravel, we're seeing it become less and less moral, more immoral, more wicked, more self-absorbed, more self-indulgent. And then that's a sign of the times. I mean, that's predicted in the Bible. It's foretold that, the love of men will wax cold. We know that. But because of that, I think it is actually making it more difficult for people to band together in the way that I speak of often, mutual assistance groups. I mean, there's that word mutual, meaning that it's mutually beneficial to all the people there. And it's not about protecting one person or who can get the most out of it. For it to be successful, it has to be mutually beneficial. And for it to be mutually beneficial, there has to be a level of trust in the group. There has to be honesty in the group. There has to be loyalty towards the group, towards each other. And if we don't have these, then it's never going to be successful. If there's animosity and distrust and gossiping and well, I don't like this little thing about this, this little tick about this person. I don't like it. It annoys me. And, I'll hang out with them so that, and be part of this group because it may help me out, but I don't really like him. That kind of stuff, well, it's the weak link in your chain for your mutual assistance group or anything else. This is true in anything. It's true in business. It's true in life. It's just simply a life lesson that I'm trying to apply to a prepper survival scenario. We've watched our society over the last few decades just become what I'm saying, become less moral. We've turned away from God, the Bible, those types of truths that most societies used to adhere to and say, hey, this is the way a man should live. This is the type of honor that a person should have. This is the better way. Didn't mean that everyone did it. It didn't mean that you did it all the time, but it meant that you made an effort to be good. You tried to be good. Most people in society in the past have always tried to be good people. Of course, missed the mark here and there, but you tried. And that was the beauty of most civilizations, most societies, is that yes, there were evil people and evil things going on, but the majority of people, well, they were good people. And while I still believe that the majority of people are good people, I think a lot of these traits that used to be fundamental to just people being good and societies functioning and working together, are slowly starting to erode away. I think it's because we're watching, like I said, we're watching our world become more and more wicked. We as preppers, as whatever you want to call yourself, you're trying to create some little tribe, some little mag of friends to ride out the storm, however bad that's going to be. We can't be like the rest of the world. We have to be a moral people. If your group is not based on fundamental moral principles, it's not going to be successful. You know, you may have a group of guys that they're all tactically cool. They know their stuff. They're great gunmen. You know, they can do all the cool tactical things. Maybe they're good at surviving and their skills are great. But if they're not based in morality, odds are they're probably going to end up just being a band of marauders. We have to have that as a basis for what we are doing. There has to be trust in the group. There has to be honesty for there to be trust. And there has to be loyalty to each other and to the group, or there ain't nobody going to be mutually assisting each other when the world starts to end. I think that this is a hurdle, at least that I have seen, that's going to be a difficult one for a lot of people to overcome. Not everyone. Most people, like I said, are still good. But even the good people of this world, I think, are becoming negatively influenced by all this wickedness. The people that we know are striving to be moral, that standard of morality, that standard of goodness, is becoming more and more diminished. I think this is also, at least to my understanding, what biblical prophecy is alluding to. That even the good people, even the moral people, it's becoming harder and harder for them to be that. And so when we're talking about specifically some type of prepper group where you're going to be surviving, possibly living together, possibly putting your life on the line, possibly doing things that, while it may be for your survivability, have now become criminal. Doing things, spending a lot of time together, and really you're going to be getting to know each other quite well if the world ends up like a lot of us think it will. And if you don't have trust with each other, if people aren't honest, if people don't have each other's best interest at heart, if people aren't doing this from really a servant's heart, and in the end aren't loyal to each other and the group, it's not going to work. I'm not a genius on this one, but I'm telling you, it's just not going to work. And I think that that's going to become a very big hurdle for a lot of people to overcome. Again, it's not because they're bad people. It's because, well, they've bought into a lot of the messaging out there, the brainwashing, the evilness that, well, you got to put yourself first. You've got to, this self-care, and you've got to take care of yourself, and you've got to, this rugged, independent self stuff. That, while it's important to be focused and make sure that you're taken care of and your family is taken care of, those types of ideals could very well lead to the downfall of your group. And if you have, the reason why that this is dangerous, if you're a lone wolf, say, you have no mutual assistance group, you have based your preps and your preparedness plan on the fact that you're all alone. And so you have geared everything around that. If you're part of a mutual aid group, or tribe, or crew, or whatever, you have adjusted your preparations to the fact that there will be a group together, believing that it will be easier to do things, easier to survive, And then when it all hits the fan, if that group falls apart because it's not based in solid moral principles, solid good character, then you're much more at a vulnerability and much more disadvantage than the person that never had it to begin with. So as much as I consistently push people to find other people, to get out there and build some kind of community of like-minded individuals, I also want to caution everyone. First of all, you need to look at yourself. You need to figure out what you're doing with yourself, what kind of person you are. Are you doing this for only yourself, or are you doing this so that you can also be beneficial to others? And then evaluate the group that you're either in or looking to be in or maybe building. Because if it's not based in trust and honesty and loyalty to the group, well then I don't know if there's any real reason to continue forward. I think that this is not just a prepper issue. I think that this is just a societal issue. Like I said, we're watching our society become very narcissistic, become very hyper-focused on only my needs, what pleases me, not what I can do for others. And we have to work really hard as good moral people, because what are we saving? What are we preserving? If it's just our lives and we're no different than the rest of the world, it's not how it should work. We should not just be saving our lives physically by doing this preparedness stuff in our families' lives, but we should be preserving truth, morality, and righteousness and goodness as much as possible, because, as I said many times before, this isn't just a civilization level collapse that we're watching. This is spiritual warfare. And if we become no different than the world, then what's the point? As preppers, we need to be honest. We need to be trustworthy, meaning that your trust is worthy of having because you're so honest. We need to have a servant's heart and being willing to help each other. You can't be mutually assisting each other if that's not true. And you need to be loyal. If you're not loyal to the group, if you're not loyal to the cause, if you're not loyal to the people that's been established as maybe leadership in your group, then what are you there for? If you're there for a good time, there to just only self-benefit yourself, you and your family, or just, stab each other in the back, then you don't need to be doing that, or your group doesn't need to exist. I know this is not a wildly popular topic. I don't expect it to get a lot of views. But honestly, when we look at what's going on in the world today, from a prepper perspective, it may be one of the more important things to talk about. If you have all this stuff and all these plans, but yet you're rotten in the heart, then you're no different than anyone else. And you may very well end up becoming the very bad people that most of us preppers talk about and preparing against. So on this journey of preparedness and mental and spiritual awakening and strengthening your walk, your personal relationship with the Creator, we should also do some self-improvements, not just physically, but also spiritually and morally. Because when the evilness fully hits us, when it's fully engulfed around us, having that strong moral foundation, that strong godly biblical foundation, is going to carry you a lot further than probably having a few extra cases of beans or rice or anything like that. Work on improving your whole self, because the days ahead, I'm afraid, are going to be pretty dark and scary. And if we aren't shining our light into it, then we're no different than the darkness. It's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.